We're going to talk a bit about, not so much about the Yogscast, although we will inevitably mention it. We're going to try and show you how to get 7 billion views on YouTube. The Yogscast has 7 billion views, that's why we use that number, but it has taken a few years, and we don't expect everyone to get straight there. What everyone always thinks about how to get a lot of views straight away on YouTube is to make the thing you're talking about a different colour, maybe get a nice arrow on it.
Arrows are really big at the moment.
Arrows are really big,
yeah.
And then make it even bigger. However, we're going to try and be a little bit more nuanced in how we tell you about the different ways to work on YouTube and get more views. It's
not complete clickbait, but clickbait does come into it, so that's one way to help.
So who are we? Mark, you've already been, if you were in the room already, you've already been listening to, as well as a content creator, which is what he was mainly talking from perspective of. He's now has been for quite some time the CEO of the Yogscast as well.
Yeah, and Rich is the Chief Revenue Officer of the Yogscast, also Managing Director of Fourth Floor Creative, the agency that handles all of our direct brand relationships.
So if you don't know the Yogscast, which is possible, we do have a video that hopefully gives a flavour of it. There's always going to happen, won't it?
There's normally sound as well.
There's some really cool music going. You just sort of imagine it yourself.
Dun, 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 do, do, do. That's probably like a 3.5 mil track.
I just talked through it.
Fine, yeah. PlayerUnknown's Battleground, that's us playing Star Trek Bridge Crew. I should probably talk about the actual facts, shouldn't we, really, less so than narrating it.
And one of the things to mention on this, as you're having a look at the different kinds of content, is that it does mention the amount of money we've raised for charity.
Yeah.
And just to...
It was slightly misleading up there. It said $6 million raised. Sadly, this is an old video. It's now $11 million. We had an absolute mammoth charity month. So every year, during December, we run a charity month. And this past month, we raised $5.24 million for charity. And it was... Thank you. It was mostly me, and other people helped. But in truth, we're given this amazing platform, and we work with a lot of games publishers and developers. We put together a big old humble bundle, and then we promote it across a whole month of activity. And so that's fantastic, really, to be able to use this. And I think displays the kind of the power of YouTube and Twitch, and the sort of connection you have with an audience.
Indeed, and if there are developers who want to be part of the Humble Bundle next year,
yeah, please do get in touch.
Get in touch with Mark.
Come see me.
So anyway, one of the big things about growing anything, but especially a YouTube channel or a big audience, is timing, getting the timing right. Now, in Yogscast's example, a lot of that timing is around luck. And it so often happens that way. So the Yogscast started when this man, Lewis Brinley, who's one of the co-founders, when he met the other co-founder, who is Simon, and they met online. And that was a lucky piece of meeting just while playing a video game, right?
Playing World of Warcraft, and basically back in the day with World of Warcraft, it used to be a very challenging game. Thank you. And you used to have to coordinate your activity, usually via voice chat. And these guys were chatting away, hanging out on voice chat, and Lewis was just amazed how funny Simon was all the time to a grand audience of maybe like 3 other people. And he thought, well, hang on, I should just record Simon being funny and then upload it. And then everyone can enjoy it. And really, that's the kind of the genesis. Simon is one of the most work-shy people you could ever meet. He would never have thought to record himself being funny. And Lewis is one of the most hard-working people you ever meet. And that kind of odd couple relationship resulted in the birth of the Yogscast and everything that followed from there.
But what was important for the timing was that right at that time, this is 10 years ago, that YouTube was just about happening. YouTube, we forget now, we have conference tracks that is just about YouTube and the other platforms that followed it. But YouTube was very new then, it was very early for people to get on, but everyone wanted their own YouTube channel at that time. Even the Queen had her own YouTube channel. It's now closed, she wasn't very good.
Couldn't hack it.
She couldn't hack it.
That's a problem.
No.
It's tough.
It's tough business. And those two guys one of the other lessons around timing was just getting out there and doing it, which was important for them. So this was the first video nearly 10 years ago, and you can see, you can really see the quality of
from
the
the get.
Yogscast.
You've got to set the tone, haven't you?
Right from the get-go, the real quality of the Yogscast that would make them huge.
We've got sound.
Basically,
Oh, we've got sound.
to explain chemical strategy.
Pretty good, right? I mean, they're really kicking it right there. You knew that they would end up with 7 billion views.
Obviously, we cleared the rights to this music as well. Even back then, we were very much on trying to make sure that copyright was abided by.
But from those inauspicious beginnings, then another piece of amazing timing happened for the guys, was they came across Minecraft.
So Minecraft was in early access at the time, and as everyone knows with any indie game, there's no tutorial. A guide on how to play is always a bit tricky. So coming from doing World of Warcraft boss guides, we started playing around with a guide on how to survive the first night in Minecraft.
Hooray, Minecraft! We've created a new server, and we're going to show people how to play Minecraft.
Not hugely upbeat, but they're getting there, right? The music is happening.
It's that sort of passion that really kind of grips the audience.
Well, what crucially happened, I mean, there was some... Sorry, I'll just make him go quiet. What crucially happened there was an awful lot of luck in their timing, and meeting each other, of getting on YouTube at the right time, of finding Minecraft at the right time. But what starts to happen here is they start understanding the craft of what people want, and starting giving people what they want. And in this case, it wasn't just the game, it really wasn't. It was about making stories out of that game and telling those stories on YouTube.
Yeah, so we basically subverted a guide series into a narrative series. So we used, as the game developed and as mods were made for the game, we could introduce new story elements, and that basically, people came along for the information, quickly discovered there was none of that, but stuck around for the entertainment. It was really this personality-driven content that people come to the Yogscast for.
Now, so that was all about timing. Lesson 2 is around teaming up. You can't do it on your own. You saw the influencers up earlier. They all have just their name on their channel, but actually they've got teams around them. So what happened to the Yogscast as well? They teamed up with their friends they've been playing games with, including Turps and other guys. Now all of these have 1 million plus YouTube channels. Do they all have
subscribers? Not all of them, Rich. No.
Do they not?
No. 4 of those up there do, but we won't name the 5th that doesn't. But that's fine. Duncan, that's an interesting picture there, isn't it? He's the one singing into a microphone, but you can't quite make that out from this angle. Anyway.
So yeah, teaming up, hugely important because you can't do it all on your own. The other big thing that happened for the Yogscast, which is important, is around building for growth, about taking that journey, and then as you get bigger, is building. For the Yogscast, that came when you convinced them to come to Bristol.
Yeah,
right?
so early 2012, the company had been formed, and it was just starting to get to the point where this was a full-time job, which was a bit surreal. It also was very draining, took up a lot of people's time. It was very hard to separate the work-life balance when you're working from your bedroom the whole time. So we decided to come to Bristol. It's where I grew up. It's a fantastic city, but it gave us the opportunity to have an office space that was a place to go to work, do work, and more importantly, walk away from work.
So this is what people think that a YouTuber's office looks like.
I wish. Look at that. That's comfy as anything.
Well, yeah. When they first moved to Bristol, this was what you built, wasn't it?
Yes. So back in 2012, we took the basement of a serviced office building in Bristol and divided it into lots of tiny little spaces to try and create our own little recording bedrooms in the basement there. And it was fantastic. Great home for us. But as with all homes, you grow, and we now have a much nicer studio space, still in Bristol, this time on the top floor of a building. So we've gone from the basement to the top. This is, for example, our live room here is a huge, big old space, very comfortable, air conditioning, lots of soundproofing and treatments, and it's just allowing us to have a more comfortable experience whilst creating a better product.
So building for growth. The other key thing, and we've talked about the fact that guys were lucky to get on YouTube, and YouTube has grown enormously. These numbers are already out of date. But it's not just about YouTube for us anymore, and it can't be. So we look at all the other platforms we can be on. For us, we got onto Twitch pretty early, and we've seen huge growth, both for us, but Twitch generally, over the last couple of years. And that's important to make sure that you can see where things are going, and be on those platforms as well. I think right now, if you're just thinking about YouTube, especially if you're in games, that's a really difficult landscape for you, and there are easier places to grow an audience. So quickly, Yogscast today is pretty big. Audience has grown with us. They're getting older every year. Plenty of channels, plenty of views, but what we're trying to do is build an entertainment company. We're not trying to build just a place for some influencers to make a few fun videos. We have a big audience, as does a lot of people in the same sphere as us, and we think that there's a platform there to build it much bigger. And just to give you a quick idea of the sorts of content that we're now making these days, the way we see the business going, is a quick clip from a video we made recently.
So there you go. That's basically us having a challenge in Trabants. If anyone is looking for a Trabant, we're actually selling that beautiful beige model there. That's the one that engine works, so it doesn't need to be pushed around by Range Rover. But we get an opportunity to do a lot of fun stuff now, and I think that we look at every opportunity in a question as to kind of what will it allow us to do? Where can it take us? And so with this, we've loved watching stuff like Top Gear and the Grand Tour, and so we get to dabble making car videos and doing silly stuff. We raced a Tesla around a racetrack against a superbike. We get to do fun things, but across lots of different things, including we have our own animated series in the works at the moment. So hopefully that gets properly greenlit, we'll see. But it's amazing kind of all the different doors that get opened as you continue on.
So we will get onto our top 10 tips very soon. I just wanted to quickly talk about, I was going to talk more about it, but it was quite a lot in the panel last time actually about the adpocalypse. The fact that one of the things, if you are trying to build a YouTube channel and you now want to build it out of just making the money from Google AdSense, it's going to be really hard. There's so much less money there now than there was 12 months ago, than there was a few years ago. And that's a real thing. Luckily, and there's lots of reasons for that. Luckily, there are other ways to make money now. Again, that got talked about an awful lot on the influencers panel, so I won't go on about it, apart from to say there's real reasons why working with influencers is a really good idea, because it is how people make purchasing decisions looking at what happens. And yes, it got mentioned before, I'll flick through this, but Fourth Floor is our in-house influencer marketing agency. Please use us if you're a brand or you're an influencer. We do lots of things and work with some cool people. Right.
Okay.
So
this isn't clickbait. We've got 10 things that you absolutely must do. And so if you don't get 7 billion views, you missed one of these steps.
No,
okay.
It says we can't guarantee.
Oh, we can't guarantee that. Okay, so again, you didn't read the asterisks there in the tiny small print. But that's the problem. You've already watched most of the video, so we've got our view. We're happy. Next, patience. It takes a long time. Success, certainly if you're creating your own brand or your own channel, is certainly not overnight. Every overnight success on YouTube has been years in the making. So you will find, even on Twitch, put up your hands if you've heard of Dr. Disrespect. You heard of him? Okay, some of the ladies, yeah. He, for example, blew up last year, but that was something that he had been doing on and off for a very, very long time. And it's just, again, with that kind of perseverance and patience, you can find success if you're lucky.
And part of that patience is being consistent. And that is making sure not just that you stick at it, which is super important, but that you put videos out consistently. Not just you keep putting them out, but you put them out on the same day, at the same time, and roughly about the same thing, so the audience knows what they're coming for. And the algorithm, we'll talk a bit about the algorithm as we go through these, which is all important on YouTube, understands what it's going to be showing to people. Otherwise, it just won't show your videos to anyone. So you have to build that consistency into what you do, as well as the video content, the look of your channel, the look of your thumbnails, how your descriptions talk about you, and your own personal brand, and be consistent around that.
Be seen, basically is talking about get out there, do collaborations, social media, those sorts of areas as well. Anywhere you can get your brand out, don't be shy about yourself. You need to use all the tools you've got available to you. And equally, from a content perspective, don't neglect things like face cam and ways to get your personality across. Again, if you're a brand, sometimes having a person that's very closely aligned to your brand can help bridge that kind of human gap.
It's also that the algorithm as well, talk again about the algorithm of YouTube, it responds when your content is being shown at other places, where the embeds of your content are being shown at, on other media. Sometimes this leads to problems, so people can do super controversial things and get covered, and their videos end up getting more views. Please don't do that. That's a terrible way to go about it. But you can see that that's how the platform works. If it sees you being viewed and talked about elsewhere and linked to, then it will start showing more of your videos to more people. So understanding the platform, we're talking about YouTube, but this is the same for all of the platforms, and they are all different, and you can't just make one piece of content and cut it up for different, make the same piece of content and put it on the different platforms. You've got to make specific for that platform. So just to delve a bit further into the YouTube platform and the algorithm, just to give some actual tips so you walk away with some real things that would help you. Some quick algorithm tips is concentrate on watch time, not views. So the amount of time that your videos are being watched is so much more important than the amount of views you get. You should be, that consistency thing, you should be doing at least 3 videos a week. A video every day works much best for the algorithm. The guy who was doing 3 videos a day doesn't work for the algorithm, but don't tell him that. He's making loads of money, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Your video length should be somewhere between 7 and 16 minutes. Sounds really simple, but more subs equals more viewership, but lots of your views will come from your subs. It is an important thing to build subscriber numbers and give subscribers what they want. Relevancy is key. It's not just about trying to find topical things. You've got to make sure that everything around your video is relevant to what's happening on your channel and what's happening if it's gaming, what's happening in gaming. And that embedded views is the point I made earlier around the algorithm really likes to see your videos being watched off platform. That brings people onto the platform. For a couple of really good people, you should have a look at. There's lots of other people out there, but these are a couple of great people. If you are looking to build your channel, Matt Gillen is a genius about YouTube. You should follow him, read everything he writes. Game theorist Matt Pat, he's pretty good on the YouTubes as well, and his videos about how the algorithm works are really good.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Do you want to do this one?
Understand the value of content. That's what that says. Just.
All right, I'll do this one.
Yeah, you do
right?
that one.
Yeah. So most of your value will come not in how much that's worth. Sorry, I know Tom's running out. but a lot of it will be about your time and the amount of time it took to make that content, and you've got to think a lot about that when you're planning what you do on your channel.
Editing the sound is important. As much as we joke about how crap our original videos are, you can't imagine that everyone is always watching every second of your video, but often they are listening to every second. You might be in another tab in a different window. So really don't neglect sound. If a video is a bit rubbish video quality and the sound is bad, you're very unlikely to see that video do well. Bad video is more forgivable than bad sounds. But equally, keep it concise, nice and neat, good quality, blah.
And then a point that Turps has already made up here once already is that you have to enjoy it. If you're going to have that patience, you're going to be consistent, you've got to be enjoying what you do and know that you can carry on doing it, and you're still doing it in a year from now, 2 years from now.
Personality, we say it a lot. Basically, it's the only thing that you have that is unique about you. If you think you have another thing that's unique about you, sadly, you're wrong. There are a lot of people in the world. You are you. Put that out there. You will find an audience. How big that audience depends on how you are.
And personality is so important, it gets 2.
And that counts. It still counts. That's 9. Just really important personality. But 10, we mix it up a little bit.
Nice.
Big personality. It truly is the most important thing. So that's how you just fill a list feature like this of 10 things you need to do. So thank you. Please do make sure you like this video, tell your friends, and subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell. It's very important you get notified about other talks we're doing, so please do that. Alternatively, you can email us, or you can tweet us, or you can talk to us if you're pretty old-fashioned.
Thank you very much.
We are already as late as we can be. We're like, the conference is going to end and we're going to still be here. So do you have any questions? I gave up. Do you?
No questions? We got a question. Okay.
You're saying about 7 to 15-minute videos. How long would you expect someone to watch? What is a good watch
Ideally, you want to
length
hit more than 75% watch time as
so
an
7
average.
minutes for a 10-minute video.
Exactly. And so 10 minutes is great because it unlocks post-roll. So in terms of monetization, you'll find a lot of videos and a lot of people trying to hit that 10-minute thing. I would always suggest that the content is good. So if the content is a great 8-minute video, put out an 8-minute video. But in theory, 10 minutes to 15 minutes is a sweet spot. You can go longer if your content suits.